multi-time champion of what's now the Canadian Pinty's Series, NASCAR Series, north of the border. Waiting to go out. A little bit of sunshine at one end of the racetrack, sprinkles at the other. That'll change. Let's take you back to Thursday night in the Can-Am Duel.
We've seen some fantastic racing action. What I like what we're seeing, passes for the lead. What does it take to get that? Watch this. As Kyle Busch dives down, he's going to try to get around the two, but look at this. Chase Elliott has momentum with a nice push from Paul Menard behind. He gets clear of the 18. It almost gives him a little bit of extra boost. He gets in the wake of the two, drops down. Now, unlike in the clash where Keselowski did the same thing to Hamlin, Hamlin cut him off. He chose to be a little bit wiser. Gets the lead, goes on to win that duel. Chase Elliott.
Well, and if you're Chase Elliott, you're looking behind you. Now here we see the second race.
Now here we got the 11 of Denny Hamlin in Duel 2. We've got Dale Earnhardt Jr. leading this race. That outside line, look how well formed it is. A little push from the 3, gets momentum, takes a little draft again on the 88. Dale Earnhardt Jr. says, I'm a sitting duck. What am I going to do? 3 cars have got a lot of momentum. He follows the 11 through, and unfortunately it cost Dale Earnhardt Jr. some spots, but great move by Denny Hamlin to use that push from behind to get the lead.
Yeah, Jr. was a little upset at first. Made a comment on the telecast, but he later tweeted to Austin Dillon, good move, because it looked from that video that if Dillon had dropped down to try to pick up Jr., he might have wrecked him. He had such
This
a
is
run.
why I love when we interview drivers right after, because that rawness and adrenaline is flowing, and sometimes you're just frustrated. You didn't win the race, but if he dropped down to pick up the 88, I'm not so sure he would have turned.
Yep. Junior did all he could do. I mean, he had no option. He's got a car that's going to start in the front row. So what do you got down there, Vince?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And, you know, they never stop working on making it better in the draft. As you guys were noting, they were really mixing it up there in that first run. Junior ran 14 laps in that first run. They came back in, worked on the car a little bit, and he will go out for a second and final run. And, you know, guys, being a driver at the Daytona 500 is so much more, and Jeff and DW, you guys certainly know this, more about just what you do in the car. Junior has a dozen appearances yet this weekend before he even gets in the car to race the Daytona 500. Let's go to Matt.
It's been a great week for our pole sitter Chase Elliott. A nice run in the duel. Overcast, now the sun's coming back out. What do you hope to learn if you guys do indeed go back out?
We're done, so I think we pretty well have what we have in the Napa Chevy for this weekend. So at this point, I think you got to be mindful of the laps you put on your motor and having a fresh one there for the 500 now. So it feels really good. Jeff Andrews, everybody in the Hendrick engine department did a good job, I think, on our motor last weekend, and to be able to run, as well as it did in qualifying and race as well as it did. Those are tough things to marry together. So we have a race motor in now, and we'll try to survive tomorrow.
And guys, one of the last things that he did, he practiced his pit road speed, his entry on the pit lane on his way back to the garage.
Thanks, Matt. Track is open again for practice. Sunshine at the west end. Kurt Busch has been our onboard weatherman in this session.
Everything good with the drivetrain, no vibrations, nothing like that. Everything good? Everything's good. It did a harmonic type of vibration once we got up to that full speed of those fast laps, but I touched the shifter and everything's very kosher with it. It's just the way the engine runs when it gets to that next level of RPM.
Boy, it's something we hear a lot about with the driveline and some of the vibrations. You hear about this harmonic vibration. Larry, can maybe explain a little bit more of how that works and how it's intermittent and goes in and out?
Yeah, a lot of times it has to do with what RPM range you're in. And, of course, we don't turn near the RPM here that we do at an unrestricted track like next week in Atlanta. But I'm beginning to learn more and more about these drivetrain vibrations because we hear it a lot. But it's like they do so many different things with the angle of the engine and the angle of the drivetrain, trying to get as much vibration out of it as possible. And they also are using things about the engine, the oil pan and all, for aerodynamics, that you help that, but then sometimes you create a vibration. Forever I thought, how in the world do you have a vibration every single week? But then it's because of the angle of the engine trying to get as big of an advantage from an aerodynamic standpoint.
And it gets so frustrating trying to diagnose it, because what happens, you go halfway down the back straightaway one time, and everything's smooth and clean, and all of a sudden, boom, this vibration picks up and doesn't go away. And then it goes away over turn one. You think, oh, okay, it's gone. And then it picks up in a different place on the racetrack. You're thinking, is it wind? Is it RPM? What is it? And it does get pretty frustrating. And I don't know if it really contributes much to performance, though. It's just one of those things that we worry about.
I think a lot of times, Jeff, it's travel. When the car travels down in the corners the way it does, sometimes that drive line angle changes a little bit and you'll get a little vibration.